Yeah, Coach, just want to get your overarching thoughts if you had the chance to kind of
Yeah.
look back and see how things transpired last night. I know you were impressed with winning all three periods in
Mhm.
particular and pulling away for that 6-1 victory.
Well, yeah, it was good. We did a lot of good things. Off it. We were watching film here this morning as a staff, and definitely had a lot more positives. Than what you probably think during a game. But when you get back from that long of a break, you really want to focus on guys getting kind of the knock the rust off. A little bit. We were able to get through the game with a lot of positives. Guys getting a lot of good puck touches. Nobody injured. Nobody suspended. You know what I mean? Especially this time of year in those type of games, right? So, both goalies played well. We got an opportunity to work on a little bit of special teams, both power play and penalty kill right off it. Got some new guys back in the lineup. So, but it's a tough game for players to play in when you have 15 forwards dress and 10 D, to get rhythm. But overall, I thought the guys did a really nice job. They're great on the bench. They've been great since they've been back. Really excited to be back, and they've given myself and our staff just a bolt full of energy because of the way they've approached everything since they've been home. So excited to get the weekend going and get into some non-conference games.
Last year, we kind of saw Ivan come in around this time and make an
Mm-hmm.
instant impact. And maybe this year, Ty is going to be that guy. He came in and looked like a really nice boost for this
Yeah.
team, with on that backside.
Yeah, like we recruited Ty. Obviously, led the Quebec League in scoring, and is and for defenseman scoring right off it, and is gifted offensively and poise, composure with the puck. Give him a lot of credit. It's been 7, 8 months since he's played, off it. So it's never easy. But again, it was nice timing, right, to get, as we kind of I think mentioned this morning, when we were talking, is getting him into this game before we play Ohio State, getting Goose, Gustav, and getting Jackson into games because they've been out with injuries, off it. So it's nice to get Ty. It's kind of like obviously he couldn't play the first half, so I kind of said it's kind of like your trade deadline pickup. You know what I mean? Like you played the whole first semester without him, and you get into where I was in the Western League January 9th or 10th to the trade deadline, right? So this is kind of like last year we added Ivan at Christmas, off it, and this year we pick up Ty Higgins to our lineup. So excited to have him, and we're going to have to also be cognitive and understanding that it's going to take probably a little bit of time for him to get up to pace and up to the rhythm of playing college hockey.
The Lions mix master. It's going to be interesting too because Jackson's done some great things defensively, but does he help you as well? Maybe more in a forward role because you're getting a guy like Ty into your lineup going into the
No, we'll
second
keep
half?
Jackson back there. He's doing great. He's kind of like I didn't know if he was going to play this past game, off it. But again, I think it was he felt good and comfortable, with it, and I think it was important for him to get that 8, 10 minutes, kind of under his belt before. Pretty hard throwing you into a game against Ohio State on a Friday night, when you haven't played in a couple months or 6 weeks. So, but yeah, we'll keep Jackson on the back end there. You kind of see the deep pair. We had Nori and Josh Dalton Norris and Ty, together, and then you had McKinley playing with Jackson. Cramps was playing with Gustav, and I thought they all played really well there. And then, I thought all the other guys, you had Brian Lonergan and Blakey playing together, and Ivan and Rahard's like, we when we're healthy, we're gonna have some really tough decisions to make. And as I always say to guys, whether we're healthy up front and the back end, your job is to make my life difficult. Off it, and for me, I want tough decisions. I want guys to be selfish when it comes to ice time, and making sure that if you're a top D, you got 8, 9, 10 guys coming after you, for that spot. If you're the third, fourth defenseman, you want to be the top two, and you got 6 guys coming after for your spot. So we want to create that competitive, culture and environment day in and day out in practice.
You love having three solid goalies. I'm sure it was fun to get Cole in for half the game yesterday, mix in Tyler as well, and Jacob will be healthy as soon. The flu going around, of course, that's a challenge, but it was probably nice for you and the staff to see Cole as well get some nice minutes last night.
It's really good for Cole. Obviously a challenging first half for him, in regards to, his the game and finding rhythm and getting into games, right? It's tough. One thing we did this year was, as you mentioned, is we brought in we have three capable goalies. I'm confident in all of them, and I thought it was really important to give, Cole that start, in this game here, instead of kind of coming in cold. Obviously, Tyler Palmer's had more games out of it, and I want all three goalies feeling good. I want all our D forwards. I want everyone feeling confident, and we as a staff and as a team should feel confident with whatever goalie we decide to go with. So it was nice to get both those guys in there. They had to make some big saves, even though it was minimal amount of shots, that they saw 9 and 11 or 10 and 10 or something like that, right? But even out of that, there's still 2 or 3 big saves they had to make in there. So it was really nice to see Cole and Tyler both be able to, get in there and face some pucks and get us a win.
Well, and Coach, just the core of the defenseman, being so physical and everybody almost bringing their own style of physicality, if that makes sense. What, I guess, brand of physicality can we expect from Higgins moving forward?
Well, I don't know if he's a real physical player. Like guys all have their own identity. We brought Ty in to help elevate our power play and bring the puck up the ice and create offense. Obviously, with his playing background, like I said, where he was last year, I don't know what he had, 50, 60 some points in the Quebec League as a D-man. We're going to ask him he's going to play and compete hard. I don't think he's going to go out and hit guys like a Gustav does, like when he's on the ice, I always say he's like a shark. Everybody knows where he's at, at all times. But he is going to play hard. He's going to play heavy. He's going to compete. He's going to stop on pucks, do all the hard things right. And then from there, we're going to have to continue to ease him in. But if you look at even last night, that we had a couple power play units going, and we had him out there with that one unit with Quinn, net front, and Morneau, Ryman, and Crampton. That's a pretty young power play unit of 4 freshmen right there, often. And then you got Q, in the front, taking care of all the young guys. I always say that's his job, out there. But it's nice to get those guys, into those opportunities. And we brought him in here to be a power play guy, so we got to get him going on that.
All right, people on the call, we got some questions from you guys.
Yeah. Hey, Coach, how you doing?
Good. How you doing, Peter? Happy holidays.
I'm same to you. Listen, I was looking at some numbers. You're in the top 25% in the NCAA in shots against. You bring in Ty in now. You got Jackson back on the blue line. And if I read my tea leaves correctly, your next step is to really push the transition game. Am I far off on that one?
Yeah, like those guys, and as I said earlier, adding Ty, adding Jackson, getting Gustav back. We got to be able to play with pace. We got to get pucks up, and especially guys like all 3 of those guys can skate well, jump up. Obviously, Jackson's just a natural, efficient, fluent skater out there. Reads ice well. And last night, prime example was Gustav scoring the first goal. Jumping up there, getting that pass from Ryman. And like I said, it's going to take a little bit for Ty Higgins, but we're not going to walk him out of the shallow end down to the deep end like he's getting tossed in, and he's going to have to get going and adapt quickly because, as I said, our investments in him to come in here and help our group and help our power play. So I'm excited to have all 3 of those guys back going.
Good. And this weekend against Ohio State, you start down there. Mm-hmm. Obviously, I'm guessing, having the exhibition game under your belt, you're going to be trying to go really hard right off the hop.
Yeah, and it's it definitely helps us. Get a couple practices in. Got this exhibition game. Behind us. Stays a bit more of a professional development day. Optional skate. Take care of yourselves. As everybody knows, this time of year, even though we're back healthy, you got this flu bug going around. So we want guys, getting proper nutrition, sleep, bikes, stretch. getting into a good routine. So, but there's nothing to. There's no reason why we can't be skating come Friday. That's going to be the expectation is, we got to play a good 200-foot game. We got to manage pucks down there. Got to be physical, make their D turn. Shift time's got to be good. We can't be out there for 45, 50 seconds. This is too good of a hockey club. And again, we got to make sure if they're going to have any opportunities to take advantage of any of our mistakes, it's got to be from a 200-foot mindset, not any neutral zone turnovers or blue line turnovers.
Okay, a little off topic from the Balkans. Have you been following the NCAA select team over in the Spengler?
No, to be quite honest, I haven't. Just the time difference. I see whatever's on social media, but I haven't been. I watch the World Juniors, Peter, more often.
Yeah, that's what you were into. But I'm just wondering, the fact that they've got basically an all-star team, could that be used almost as a recruiting tool for some kids to come to the NCAA and have that opportunity to go play in Europe, and especially for the kids who haven't been drafted, gives them an opportunity to showcase their skills in Europe, where a lot of players like to go play.
Yeah, I think it's a great idea. I love the fact that we have a U.S. team, collegiate team going over there. The time zone's always the tough one for us, right? Like to watch games. I wish it was more prime time for us because I'd love to dive in. Unfortunately, when their games are on, I'm sleeping normally. And then when I'm awake, I got our own stuff to worry about. But I have been able to follow it. I saw their comeback, and, on, I know Instagram or somewhere, and watching highlights when I can and whatnot. But it was great to see them win that game. They're in the semis, right?
Yeah, they're playing right now. And it's, late in the third period, they're up 5-2.
They're up 5-2, so that's...
with 8 minutes to go.
Yeah, that's great. And that's the team that beat Canada, I think, right? They're playing?
Yeah, they beat Canada, they beat Davos, the host team, and now this is a Czech team, Sparta, that they're playing.
That's awesome. It's great for college hockey. As you said, I think it's a great recruiting tool, great opportunity for these guys to get to go over there and showcase their talent, showcase college hockey. As well, that I truly do believe that it is, and it's gonna be the number one developmental league to pro hockey. Especially now, obviously with the changes and so forth, you're seeing a lot more players and coming down to play collegiate hockey to prepare themselves for the next level, and for them doing as well as they are there, I think is only another feather in the cap of the state of college hockey. So it's great, and obviously I'm cheering for them over there.
Yeah. Anyway, good to hear you're going up to Plymouth tonight. I'm actually already planning to be there myself, so hopefully I'll catch you at the rink.
Yeah, I'll let you buy me a coffee there, Peter.
You know what? I could probably
I'll get you one.
It isn't an NCAA violation of any type.
Yeah, well, I look forward to seeing you up there.
All right, you too. Thank you.
Do we have any more questions on the call? All right, I think we have one more question here in the back.
Hey, Coach, if you could just tell us what you're expecting from a now announced this past Saturday sold-out Slater and what you're going to be feeling on the bench seeing 5,000 screaming fans around you.
Yeah. Well, it's always fun, right? It's you play games, I always say to compete and win, but there's also the other value to make those that support you feel proud of how we play and what we want to do. And for our group, obviously we're going down Friday or focus on Friday. And no matter what happens Friday, we have to hit the reset button for Saturday. You win Friday, great. You lose Friday, great. Whatever. We got to always get focused. And the next day, obviously it's not going to need as much of us to go and set, and get them revved up. It's more keep them at bay. It's always, ever since I was a player, when you play here in these crowds, and I just had a good friend, Gary Heenan, coaches Utica, that was just in for last night, got here halfway through the game, and he's never been here, right? Ever. Never been to Bowling Green, never seen our rink. First thing he said is, man, he goes, if this place, when it can sell out, how loud is it again? Like, that's his first question he asked me, is like, what a great college rink, right? And I say it all the time, we have such loyal and committed fan base. They're passionate for hockey. I've always said Bowling Green's a hockey town. If you ask people in around the area, it's not a sport that you have to overly market. I don't think, because you have your fans that have been here since day one, and it's awesome. So our thanks to everyone, obviously coming out Saturday. Now the pressure's on us to put a good product on the ice. But I can assure you that our players can be ready to go. They're going to compete and battle. We can't tell you what the outcome will be. All I know is that, you can expect a relentless group for 60 plus minutes out there.